Tai Zabriskie. Tai. Like that. Theus, what is the meaning behind Joel? Trying to have faith. It's a good place to start, is to have a desire to have faith. So, see, beyond the veil. How are you?
Doing all right, man. I'm just trying to fix it.
Sorry, let me turn my volume up here. Can you talk again?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. I'm just trying to fix it.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Good.
Sorry, I just got on, and so I didn't have my volume adjusted appropriately. So,
Rookie mistake, man. Rookie mistake.
Exactly right. So, did you want to share a testimony or your faith in Jesus Christ, or did you want to share something else?
Joseph Smith was a true prophet because he produced the works of the Book of Mormon and had powerful revelatory insight into the inner workings of reality itself. In that, he posited that matter can neither be created nor destroyed, and therefore our spirits are eternal. And it's more than that. He obviously got that from Revelation, but that is grounding faith in the reality of the world around us is something that you don't hear from any other Christian faith.
Yeah.
Which is why so many people go atheist once they learn a little bit about science or history.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I know the church is true, predicated upon that and predicated upon my own personal spiritual beliefs, spiritual witnesses that I've had. And it just keeps happening. Once you continue to seek after the truth of the world, and you remain steadfast in your faith, then you will find more. You will find more reasons to believe. You will find more reasons to, or things to reason with in your beliefs, and that will propel you forward in your understanding of the scriptures, your own faith, and reality itself.
Yeah, I agree. Very good. Thank you. Beautiful testimony.
I had a bit of a personal revelation. Mm-hmm. Not very recently. I've been thinking about this for years. But was it the two trees in Genesis? Mm-hmm. I think it's an allegory of the duality of life and intrinsic in every aspect of life. Femininity, masculinity, logic and reason versus emotion and feeling, spiritualism, right and wrong, good and evil, yin and yang. The duality permeates all of history, sociologically and through all religious texts throughout the entire world. And it even permeates, or it's even intrinsic within the human body itself. What I came to realize after a little bit of study and not much reading, I don't read much, but I study using YouTube and listening to people smarter than myself who write the books that other people read.
Yeah, right. There's a few of those.
There's two sides of the, like, I actually have this is the only video I have on my on my profile because I don't produce videos much. But the thing is that there's two sides of the brain. There's two hemispheres, right? One governing logic, reason, cognitive function and movement, things of that nature. And then the other governing art, feeling, emotion, things of that nature, right? And when you consider the aspects of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that might have been the kind of the whole purpose behind that. Maybe it was an allegory, and maybe it was the actual fact of the matter concerning the creation of the world. or maybe it's just how we should live our life with a balance, a perfect balance and unity between the two halves of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have that balance within ourselves, and then we balance that, and then we have that same balance with our spouses,
Mm-hmm.
then we produce loving families
Mm-hmm.
who are, strong in all aspects of life.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
yeah, I mean, once logic and reason and emotion come into perfect unity, you end up with, in my opinion, the embodiment of the apostles we have today.
Mm-hmm.
Because those men, you are powerhouses when it comes to logic and reason,
Mm-hmm.
and yet are so involved in their spirituality and emotion, and they have a great governing capacity on both, and neither one side overpowers the other.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found personally is that when logic and reason overpower emotion and spiritualism, you become a sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
You remove yourself from your own emotions, and it makes it very hard to connect with people on an emotional level.
Yeah.
But if you go the other way and you pay too much attention to your emotions, you become a psychopath, which is basically just short-term gain for long-term suffering.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta say, I don't know enough about the human psyche to know, like, to have thought that in depth related to those those ideas that you just shared. But I can. There's definitely you have to have balance in your life. There definitely is the intent. You find more peace and you find more truth when you find balance, I'm sure. So,
For sure.
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate you getting on and sharing your testimony and your thoughts, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, God bless you, brother.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Gary, 888, is that 8850, Gary? Gary going once. Gary going twice. And try again. Okay, so somebody wanted me to read Joel to Elder Troll. The name is kind of dumb. The name isn't intended to say that I am worthy. The intent was originally to say that I want to be worthy. So it's so I've explained it a few times, but I've thought about changing it. So the intent wasn't to say that I am. 2:28. So Joel 2:28 through 32. So, and it shall come to pass after that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, and blood and fire and pillars of smoke. It's beautiful. Acts 2:16 through 21. Acts 2:16 through 21 says, "But this is that which I spoke by the prophet Joel. It shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And upon my servants and upon my handmaids I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy, and I will show wonders in the heavens and signs in the earth beneath, and blood and fire and vapor of smoke. Down to 21. And the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and notable day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on my name, I changed that on accident. Whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. It's beautiful. So let's see what else we have here. I'm trying to have faith. J.J. Watts, struggling with addiction and suicide. The best thing I believe that you can do is well, if you're thinking about suicide, I would get some help. Find somebody you can call and talk to. If you don't have anybody, there are hotlines that you can call. But in general, I know that the Lord loves you. And if you seek Him, I know that He can help you. Hey, James, how are you? But I wouldn't, if you're thinking that way, definitely reach out to somebody. I had my niece commit suicide this last October. It's been less than a year now. And we were all devastated that nobody knew she was even thinking about that. So, went through the last 2 years of my kid threatening to kill himself as well, in and out of mental hospitals. Can be very difficult. They're difficult situations to deal with. The thing that you have to remember is that there is always somebody that loves and cares about you. You just have to reach out to them and let them know how you're feeling. Elder Troll, your name in reality would disqualify you from Zion. Humility is a key. So the name actually came up. So my name, worthy of Zion, does not mean I am worthy. It does not mean. I should have said unalived yourself. I just got a restriction. So I should have said unalived. But my name is, I was reading a book one day. And the book was a book by a guy named John Pontius. And John Pontius wrote this book called The Triumph of Zion. And I was reading it. And as I was reading it, I had this really deep feeling that said that, because I have no idea what my future holds. I don't know if I'll live to see Christ come again. I don't know if I'll pass away in the turmoil that happens before it. But I hoped, and I had this really deep feeling as I was reading that book, that I hope that if the day comes that I stand at the gates of Zion, the New Jerusalem, that I will be worthy to enter Zion. And that's where the name comes from. It's a desire to be worthy to enter. And whether I'm there or not, I want to be worthy to enter. That's not saying that I am, but I get why you would say what you're saying about it, so I appreciate you pointing that out. Shouldn't call yourself worthy of Zion, ? Thanks, Elder Troll. If you had true humility, you would have intuitively known that. Thank you. I'm sure you can find a way to drive that home a little harder. All the debate bro Mormons went to bed. That's okay. I'm not here to debate. God bless. Do Latter-day Saints believe Catholics go to heaven? Well, we believe that all of the children of God will receive some form of salvation. So, so one of the things that I believe that most religions don't answer is what happens to all the people on this earth that didn't receive baptism because they never received or heard about Jesus Christ. We believe that all of those people will be taught in the spirit world and have an opportunity to receive Jesus Christ and baptism. And that baptism will be done vicariously in the temple of God. Andrew Jackson's burner, we believe all are saved. I love John Pontius. I love John Pontius too. So probably, I mean, I know he wrote the near-death experience, not near-death. What is it? Beyond Journey, Beyond the Veil or something. I don't remember what it is, but no. Journey to the Veil are the two books that I really like by him, and they're kind of stories of his life. Those are probably my two favorite books by him. That Triumph of Zion's a beautiful book as well. Visions of Glory, yeah, the Visions of Glory book about the kind of all the near-death, end of the world type stuff. There's some pretty fascinating things in there, and I know there's a lot of people that kind of discount portions of it, but as I've listened to that a couple of times, well, I've actually listened to it on a Audible. I think there's some pretty profound truths that people will realize at some point that he had in that book. A lot of it related to the spirit world around us. Some of it I think is a little over the top. You know, it obviously wasn't written for me. It was written, the visions were, God, what did he call himself? He called himself, it wasn't steward, it was, of course you have to take Spencer. There you go, Spencer. Yeah, you do have to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it's his personal revelation that he shared. But my experience, I've had a number of experiences with dark spirits, and some of the things that he talks about related to spirits and darkness, the dark spirits and the angels and spirits of light and things like that. There's some really, really profound things that he shared. So I got a sadly edited version of the Ethiopian Bible, so still not a real deal. I think his real name is Robert. I've heard that somebody spilled who he was, and people know who he is now. He's obviously not Spencer, but it definitely makes you think. If you think about the, will there be an earthquake in Salt Lake City? Will the valley split down the center? Will Utah Valley drop and a lake appear in its place? I live in Utah County, so that if that were to happen, that's all obviously a little bit troubling to think about. So I left the church and came back 30 years later. I had a struggle with the adversary also, physically. So I fell away from the church in my late teens and came back in my early 20s. But I walked a pretty dark path in that time, and I experienced a number of things in that probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 year span there that ultimately allowed me to. I don't pride myself in this because it's a place I wish I'd never gone, but I've seen the darkness and I've seen the light, and so it makes it, I believe, I guess because of my experiences, I see things a little bit differently than other people, unless people have walked that path, I guess, and they have seen the darkness, and where they have had those dark spirits around them. So they are true. They really do exist, and they really do want to prevent us from returning to God. My struggle didn't start until I asked the Lord to help me come back to the church, and then He attacked relentlessly. That sounds about right, you know. You decide to get baptized, you decide to come back to church, you decide to go to the temple. It seems like all of those things can cause a full-on assault to come upon you. Surrounded by familial dead who protect me. Beautiful. It's like Jello in Salt Lake. You'd shake for days, right? Yeah. Well, if you think about this, is so the earthquake they had in Magna. If you think about that earthquake in Magna, and that the ripple from that earthquake spread across the entire United States. You know, the seismic sensors picked it up as it spread from Salt Lake all the way out across the country, which is pretty interesting. And if you think about the size of that earthquake, it really wasn't that big, the Magna quake, but it's so surprising that the angel Moroni dropped his trumpet from that, which means it did give the Salt Lake Temple a pretty good jolt. I'm doing well. This live got flagged for a violation a few minutes ago, and so we've got throttled because I said the full K word instead of unalived, and immediately the violations. Well, have a good night. Oh, you're in Indiana. My two brothers live in Indiana. So 11:30, yeah, 1:30. It's a little bit later there, that's for sure. The Wasatch Fault is trippy, absolutely. So I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that there will be an earthquake. I think that they were inspired to reinforce the Salt Lake Temple as they did. I think it's just a matter of time. Let's see. That says how much longer I'm restricted for. Let's see. So your live is restricted. Let's see. Ended. Current live restricted for some audience. 23:13, and now it's 24. Ended. Live visibly restricted for 10 minutes. Okay. Well, it says that it's talking about things I shouldn't be talking about on TikTok. So looks like maybe that restriction's over. So I best watch myself. I'm a cussaholic. well, well, we all have our flaws. So I generally just ask people not to drop them, drop the big ones on here. So anyway, so yeah, we were talking briefly about, so somebody earlier was scolding me on the name of my channel, saying it was more or less inappropriate and prideful and not humble. So, but the purpose of it's not to say that I'm worthy. The purpose is to identify that there's a hope to be worthy. My favorite books of the Bible are Proverbs and Psalms. Okay. You know, Proverbs and Psalms are, I know there's some beautiful things in there, but they are the books that I don't think that I've actually read the Bible. Now, I know I've read them before because I've read the whole Bible cover to cover, but I've read the New Testament dozens and dozens of times. Different parts of the Bible I've read lots and lots of times. But I find myself more often than not trying to read the Book of Mormon than the Bible. But I definitely peruse through the Bible when I study, using all of the scriptures. Smitty,
How are you doing this evening, sir?
good. How are you? Did you want to share a testimony about Jesus Christ or your faith in Him or something else?
Oh, well, I would like to share two things with you, sir.
Sure.
So, I am a Baptist, and
Baptist, great.
yes, sir. But I'm a different kind of Baptist. So,
Okay,
I'm a Southern Baptist, um, which,
I've heard of them.
yeah, in the Bible it says it talks about the way to God is
Mm-hmm.
salvation, and salvation through the love of Jesus Christ, and knowing He died for you on the cross.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I get into a lot of debates with Catholics who are like, no, you have to be baptized. I'm like, no, faith, and you can bring up, the thief on the cross, and they look at you like, that's not how that works. I said, that is how that works.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to share my testimony with you if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Uh, I was 16 years old. I was going through a really hard time in my life. My father had passed away when I was 9, and my
Mm-hmm.
grandfather passed away when I was 12. And I was in a tight spot. I thought, well, this is it. Nothing else to do. Uh, and this has been 20 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to go hunting with my uncle the next day, go duck hunting. And I just got this brand new shotgun. And I
Mm-hmm.
told myself, I don't need to be here anymore. I went out into my yard. I took the shotgun, I put it in my mouth, and I pulled the trigger. And it went click. I racked another one in the chamber, pulled trigger, click. One more, click. I fell to my knees, and I just felt this presence come over me. And I prayed and I talked to God right then and there. And I knew that there was a reason for me to still be alive. I picked that gun up, I put all three shells in it, all three of them fired.
Mm-hmm.
And I really broke into the Bible that day. And it just, it was a whole different kind of feeling. It's something that I think everybody should experience. And I want everybody to experience because Jesus loves them.
Mm-hmm.
They should know that.
It's beautiful, man. absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Obviously, I don't know how that feels, to go through what you've gone through. Um, but what a marvelous experience of the love of God in your life to witness to you that you have value and you have purpose and worth in the sight of God. It's beautiful, man. I'm glad that I'm glad that that didn't happen, that didn't work. That you could be here to testify of that.
Me too, brother. Me too.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely beautiful.
uh I was in the military for 8 years, and
Hmm.
through that time period I got to, you know, talk to a lot of people about Jesus, bring a bunch of people to Jesus. And I'm not a priest, I'm not a preacher,
Hmm.
I'm nothing of the sort. I'm a sinner just like everybody else.
Hmm.
And I think that's the best way to connect with people. And I think it's something that mainstream church needs to go back to, you know?
Hmm. Well, the interesting thing is that um, one of the things we get, one of the things we get, because I'm LDS obviously, and um, we get hit all the time with the idea that you can't feel truth. You can't receive truth by a feeling. But I tell you, when I listen to you share that testimony, I can feel truth of it. And the witness of the Holy Spirit that there is a God in heaven that loves us, that loves you. And I believe that he testifies of truth through those feelings, through that witness of the Holy Ghost. And I appreciate you sharing that tonight. One of the reasons why I love having people come on here and share their faith and their testimonies and how they came to know Jesus is because I love to experience that. Um, it's what makes me love coming on here and talking to people. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
And
thank you
I'm
for
sure
having
I
me.
know the other people could feel that as well. So it's beautiful.
Well, you guys